Japan looks like the most put-together country on the planet. Trains arrive on time down to the second. Streets are spotless. People bow to each other out of respect. From the outside, it's a masterpiece, a perfectly trimmed bonsai. But underneath the soil, the roots are rotting. Because Japan is hiding three problems that almost nobody talks about out loud. First, why haven't prices moved in 30 years? Second, why is the currency bleeding value every single month? Third, why is the government sitting on a debt so massive it makes America's spending look responsible? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on how a country breaks apart without making a single sound. Let's start with something that actually happened. A few years ago, a Japanese ice cream company did something unthinkable. They raised the price of their product by 10 cents. 10 cents. The executives held a televised press conference. Suits on, cameras rolling, national broadcast, and then they got on their knees and cried, publicly apologized to the entire country for charging a dime more. First price increase in 25 years. That's not a quirky cultural moment. That's a symptom of an economy so frozen it forgot how to function. To understand why, rewind to the 1980s. Japan was on fire. The good kind. Japanese companies were buying skyscrapers in New York. The land under Tokyo's Imperial Palace was theoretically worth more than all of California. Money was everywhere, and nobody believed the party would end. But the bubble popped, stock market crashed, real estate collapsed, and Japan didn't just enter a recession, it entered a coma. For 3 decades, prices stopped rising. That sounds incredible until you realize what it actually does. If you know that TV will be cheaper next month, you wait. If everyone waits, nobody buys. If nobody buys, factories don't sell. If factories don't sell, wages don't rise. That's deflation, an economy that freezes itself to death. Wages in Japan barely moved for 2 decades. Workers didn't complain because rent didn't move either. Felt stable, comfortable, like an old couch that's molded to your shape. But comfort isn't growth. Comfort is a trap, and that trap had a price Japan didn't see coming. Because while everything inside was frozen, the world outside kept moving. And when Japan finally had to interact with that world, it discovered its money was worth almost nothing. Japan has a design flaw. It's a rock in the middle of the ocean. No oil, no natural gas, not enough farmland to feed itself. It imports almost everything, and imports require a strong currency. Here's what went wrong. When inflation hit the rest of the world after 2020, central banks everywhere raised interest rates. The US cranked rates up aggressively, but Japan kept rates at zero, below zero actually. They were terrified, because raising rates would wake up a monster we'll get to in a second. So investors did the obvious thing, pulled their money out of Japan and parked it in the US where returns were higher. The yen collapsed, fell to levels not seen in 34 years. Now walk through a Tokyo street. Foreign tourists flooding in with suitcases, buying everything in sight, designer bags, premium beef, luxury hotels. For someone holding dollars, Japan became a fire sale. But for ordinary Japanese people earning yen, gas went up, electricity jumped 30%, groceries climbed, some workers got a raise, 3%, historic even. But when your paycheck goes up 3% and your grocery bill goes up 10%, you're not richer, you're poorer. That's called negative real wages. You work the same hours, but your money buys less every single month. Your boss gives you a bigger number on your paycheck, but the supermarket takes an even bigger number out of your wallet. You're running faster on the treadmill and falling further behind. 30 years of stability wasn't peace. It was an illusion. The moment the outside world changed, that illusion shattered. But the currency problem isn't even the scariest part, because when you look at what Japan's government has been doing behind the scenes, you'll understand why there's no clean exit. Japan's government is sitting on the largest debt any developed nation has ever accumulated, and the trick they used to hide, it just stopped working. Japan's national debt is 260% of its annual GDP. No major economy on earth comes close. Not even the United States with its money printers running overtime. That's like earning $40,000 a year, but owing over $100,000, and adding to that debt every single month for 30 years straight. How did they pull this off without collapsing? Simple, a magic trick. The government issued bonds, the central bank printed new money and bought those bonds. The government was essentially lending money to itself. And here's how deep that rabbit hole goes. The Bank of Japan now owns more than half of all Japanese government bonds. It's not just influencing the bond market, it is the bond market. There is no real buyer, no real price discovery, just one institution holding the entire system together with printed money and hope. When interest rates are zero, paying interest on infinite debt costs almost nothing. So the system held together, barely, as long as nothing changed. But things changed. Now here's the part that should terrify you. Japan has two buttons in front of it. It can only press one, both explode. Button 1, save the currency. Raise interest rates to defend the yen. But if rates go up even slightly, interest payments on that mountain of debt become unmanageable. The government would have to spend its entire budget just servicing debt. No money left for hospitals, schools, infrastructure, nothing. Button 2, save the government. Keep rates at zero so the debt stays affordable. But then the yen keeps falling, energy and food become unpayable. Savings evaporate, inflation spirals. There is no button 3. And even if Japan somehow threads that impossible needle, there's one problem that no amount of money printing or rate manipulation can fix. Japan is running out of people. The population peaked back in 2010. It's been shrinking every year since. The median age is pushing toward 50. Playgrounds across Japan sit empty. Schools are shutting down and reopening as nursing homes. Millions of houses in rural areas are literally rotting because the owners died and nobody's left to inherit them. And here's the image that tells the whole story. Japan now sells more adult diapers than baby diapers. Let that sink in. Every year, fewer young people enter the workforce. Every year, more retirees draw pensions. The math doesn't work. You can't fund an aging society when there's nobody young enough to earn and pay taxes, infinite debt, a drowning currency, and a population that's shrinking every single year. 3 crises feeding each other in a loop with no exit, and all it took was one small decision to light the fuse. In 2025, the Bank of Japan finally did something it hadn't done since 2007. And the consequences started immediately. They raised interest rates, sounds small, 0.25%, almost invisible, but for an economy addicted to free money for decades, it was an overdose. Thousands of zombie companies, businesses that weren't actually profitable, surviving only by rolling over zero-interest loans, started collapsing. Bankruptcies surged, layoffs spread, storefronts went dark. The government panicked, promised subsidies, energy relief checks, fuel discounts, but where does that money come from? More debt. To put out the fire of rising prices, the government is pouring gasoline made of borrowed money. Investors see this and pull out faster. The yen drops more. Inflation climbs higher. The doom loop accelerates. Japan froze its economy for 30 years and called it stability. Its currency is bleeding out. Its debt is mathematically unpayable. Its population is vanishing. What looked like the most orderly, disciplined economy on earth was actually a pressure cooker, building steam for 3 decades with no release valve. And the scariest part isn't that Japan might collapse, it's that Japan isn't alone. If your country is printing money, running persistent deficits, and aging at the same time, you're running the same experiment, just on a delay. Japan is further down the road, and the view from there should make everyone else very, very nervous.